So let's call the meeting to order. This is the Upper Captiva Civic Association General Membership Meeting for January 26, 2022, 6:32 p.m. And got, a good bit of an agenda to get through. Board members, if you could do a quick roll call.
Aaron LaValle here.
David's here.
Bill Fry here.
Marlene Fox.
Helen Justice here.
Ann Linder's here.
And Swinford, and I think we're missing Paula. She let us know that she wasn't gonna be able to make this one. And then Melissa, we got you. Got there.
Yeah, Paula's going to be on shortly. She messaged me.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll dive into the agenda. The first thing, and we'll say that we're sort of taking this from a little bit of the organization of fire board meetings, is we're adding additions, changes, deletions to agenda should any board member wish to make a last minute change to the agenda. Any takers on that one?
Is it up? Did David put the agenda up, or it doesn't need to be up?
Do you want to flash it to everyone there quickly, David? So just reviewing it real quick, Ellen, first thing we're going to go through is just member public input process, public comment on agenda. We'll approve the minutes from October's meeting, go through the election results.
No, I have the agenda.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Maybe I don't have the budget or the.
Oh, no worries. He'll put that up for you when we
Okay.
get to it.
Okay,
So
I'm so sorry. Sorry. Thanks, David.
yeah, no
My
worries.
bad.
No worries at all. All right, so if no one has any modifications to the agenda, we'll move to the next item, which is member and public input process. So it's important to us that, the membership and at these general membership meetings, the general public is invited, that everyone, get to speak if you want to speak on topics. But we need to be orderly, and I don't think anyone really wants meetings to drag on for 4 hours. We've had some of those, and so I'm just going to kind of go through the process that I think we all expect when it comes to sort of the public input, which is wait until discussion is open to public comment. We'll go through as a board. We'll go through these agenda items. And at each one, we'll ask for public comment. And if you'd like to comment, if you know how to raise your hand on Zoom, that's the best way to do it. If you can't figure that out, it's fine. Just physically raise your hand. We'll recognize you. And if you're on the phone and can't figure it out, just, go, hey, it's me. I want to make a comment, and we'll get to it. For the minutes, if you do speak, if you could just tell us your name as you start to speak. That way Melissa's got that in the record to go back and transcribe for the minutes. We would like to keep to a 3-minute time limit per person per topic. If it's very important to you to come back a second time to the table, it's fine. Let's just all not try to abuse it. And then I just want to extend that, beyond these meetings, we're available to the community. Anyone in our community should feel that they can reach out to any one of the board members via email. I'm sure many of you have, our phone numbers. In particular, for me, I'm available to anyone, anytime. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, you can come meet with me. I'll come meet with you. I want to hear, what you feel our problems are on the island, suggestions that, we need to get to as an organization, anything. I want to hear that. And I think the rest of the board, probably agrees with that. So Having said that, board members, any comments on this agenda item? Any public comment on commenting as the public? All right. We'll move forward. So now we're going to move through to public comment on the agenda. If there's anything specific on the agenda that you want to go ahead and comment on before we move through it. Looking around, no takers. All right, move forward. Now we need to approve the minutes from our October 9th, 2021 membership meeting. David, I guess we didn't publish those to this because they're not approved yet, but we have those to post here for the board to see? Is everyone from the board seen those? We sent them around early this month.
Yeah, I don't know if I have them to post. I could try and pull one up real quick if you want. Hang on just a sec.
I would just move that we approve the minutes. In fact, I think we actually did that as a board at the meeting, but now I can't recall. I move that we approve the minutes as they were amended and that they be posted to the website for members to see shortly after the meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Aaron seconds. Discussion on the October 2021 general membership minutes, meeting minutes. No discussion. All right, all in favor of approving the October 9th, 2021 membership meeting minutes? Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. All right, they're approved and we'll get them posted so anyone can go back through those. And the video, the Zoom from that meeting is posted on the website right now.
Right. So just as clarification for everybody, because this is kind of one of those things we need to continue to remind everyone, if you're interested in those, the video is posted as well as the documents archived and minutes that are associated with each meeting. So if you go to our website and you go to the meetings page, you'll see the archive of meetings down through there. So you'll know, you can see anything through time. So you'll see the recordings and you'll see the minutes and the documents that were discussed.
Awesome. All right, next item is our December election results, and Mr. Fry is chair of the nominating committee. You have the floor.
So just as occurred 12 months ago or 13 months ago, we had, in this case, 4 candidates for the 3 seats that were up for election. Just as a reminder to the general members, we have an election every year. 3 seats are up in that election every year. And there were 4 candidates. Alex Murphy, Marlene Fox, Paula Garrett, and Melissa Heberly. The 3 that received the most votes are, you see in front of you today as members on board, and that's Melissa, Paula, who's not here yet. And
Actually, Bill, can I interrupt you real quick? David, I think Paula's trying to get in. Do you see her in the waiting room at all?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Let me see where it might. No, maybe she's trying to join a board meeting, perhaps.
Yeah, I'll send that to her. Go ahead, Bill. Sorry about that.
So, the election was run, David Bolme as our communications secretary. He ran the election using Election Buddy, same process that's been used every time there's been a requirement for an election, meaning there's been more than 3 candidates for the 3 seats. And that's a secure election process on Election Buddy, a website that has fairly good stiff controls And if there are questions, I'll defer to David if those questions come up. Each member for 2021 and 2022 received a secure ballot against the email that is listed as their membership email account. For those that have two members in the household, but only one email account, then they were created, a second election ballot went to the same email in that instance. We posted the results on the website. If there are any questions about how the election was run or the process, I'm open to questions. Hearing none, I think that concludes, unless David, you have something to add, whether I covered it well enough.
No, I think what you said exactly right. I hope everyone's assured that every effort was made to reach out to the email addresses that are registered in the profiles on UCCA. Had a few calls because things in that from Election Buddy or other places that are sent out, emails flagged them as spam, so some people didn't receive them. We worked through that, and to my knowledge, everyone that was inquiring about getting a vote for their household for the both two parties did.
All right. Any public comment on the election process? All right, we'll move on to the next, which was after the election, we had our first board meeting at the beginning of January. I believe it was the 4th of January, and officers were elected. I was elected president, and I appreciate that. Going to work hard for the organization. Paula Garrett was elected vice president. Helen Justice was reelected treasurer. Melissa Eberly as recording secretary, and David Bolmy reelected as communications secretary. Any comments on that? Any of the officers want to say anything? Nope. All good.
Here to serve, make a difference.
Streamlined meeting so far. This is easy. All right. So next on the agenda is we had a vacant board seat due to Joanne Biermeister moving off island and resigning in late 2021, and we had to appoint that seat, which was done last night. And I'll let Bill Fry take over on that process.
So just as last year, I was chair of the nominating committee, the president and the board appointed me as the chair of the nominating committee for any nominations during 2022. And what was different in this process was that instead of gathering interested parties by email and the board voting by email, we announced the vacancy by email and website posts, as well as Facebook posts, and had a 2-week period for any interested people to volunteer. And quite honestly, I was surprised. We had 5 really strong candidates. The 5 candidates, their candidate statements were posted on the website about 5 or 6 days ago, I think, for anybody any member to see what they were. As a reminder, the current bylaws state that the board members are the only people that vote to select and fill a vacancy. That on Monday, we had a meet and greet virtually with 4 of the 5 candidates. 1 candidate withdrew at the day before. And on Tuesday, we had a special board meeting that was open to the public, open to the general membership for 2022 members. And we had a few members that were actually on and watched the process. The board voted to fill the vacancy, and Ann Lindner was selected by a majority of the board to fill that vacant position. As a reminder, that position that she's filling is replacing Joanne Biermeister, who replaced Rick Noland from a resignation a year ago. And it is one of the 3 positions that will be up for election at the end of December of this year. First, I'll ask Ann if she has anything that she would like to say, and then I'll close out the talk.
Thanks, Phil. Just thanks to you guys for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Ann.
Awesome.
So, subject to questions, that was the process that we ran. We wanted to be not just transparent, but inclusive. And as I said, we had some really strong candidates. I'm hoping that some or all of those candidates will be not just interested in running for a board seat at the end of December, but also will engage with the current board members and whatever committees we decide to create to work our way through this year's priorities. So subject to questions, that's all I have to present. Hearing none, I'll turn it back over to Swin.
Awesome. So we'll move on from that one on to the next agenda item is new meeting date structure for both board and general meetings. So as a board, we had some good discussion earlier this month just about the number of meetings that we have and the time between meetings. It's really hard to get a lot of work done when you're only meeting with each other once every 3 or so months. So as a board, we have decided to move to monthly board meetings to just engage with each other more often. At this point, we'll still just have, and let me back up a second, members are invited to attend those board meetings. You can attend any of them. And then as far as the general meetings, at this point, we will still plan to only have the 4 general membership meetings per year. We could always decide to change that at some point in the future. Any board member comment on meetings?
Yes. Swin,
Yep.
you're going to tell them when they are?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Helen.
That's
Yep,
okay.
thank you. So our board meetings are going to be the first Wednesday of every month. So our next one is actually next week. I believe it's February 2nd. And then the general membership meetings are going to be the last Wednesday of bear with me, Bill, you might remind me,
January, April, July, and October.
Hence why we're doing January now.
Yep. So that's it. Any other comments on meeting dates? Board or
So just
Time.
know, just as before, there'll be an email going out to the membership related to these meeting dates ahead of those meetings, to announcing that with the Zoom information and the meet date times. So you should be able to, okay, put it on your calendar. If you don't remember it, it should come out in your emails. I'll probably mention this later in my report, but also I want to reiterate, if you guys do not get members emails from UCCA as members, you need to let me know. Just email david.bomey@uppercaptivacivicAssociation.org, and I'll make sure that you get signed up to that email list, because it's important thing to keep up to date with things. So that'll be our effort to get that to you.
And Swin,
yes.
I mean, that was all in the minutes from the board meeting, but maybe if anyone had not read them, I think it is a good idea to let them know that we did change them to evenings and to the middle of the week, so that
Yep.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So great point. So, our board meetings and the general membership meetings, have traditionally been on Saturdays and or Sundays, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon. And I think, the general consensus is there are many people that just can't make those meetings. If you're involved in, your worker who's helping turn houses, or you're involved in any kind of rental, that excludes a lot of people. And then the other thing is, just giving up your weekend, right? A lot of people want their weekend. So, I think the traditional sort of, if you call it HOAs and city councils, they're usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday evenings is when those traditionally happen. So we're going to try that and see how attendance goes and get feedback from membership on how it's working. But that's sort of the goal there. All right. Anything else on
Good.
meeting? Yep.
Mm-mm.
All right. So next on the agenda is the upper.
Hey, Squid.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Bill's got his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill.
I have three. I did the automated one when everybody's talking, and then.
Yeah, all good.
Automated.
The key point, I think, and I for one would like to hear from members, doesn't have to be today, but by emails or by comments to any one of us, what you think about the idea of doing membership meetings on that last Wednesday of January, April, July, and October, and whether that works better for you all or a different date. The sad thing is we won't be able to satisfy everyone, but this is an attempt that the board wanted to try to get at least a new way to do it, especially with Omicron and Delta that have raised their heads. This lends itself more easily to virtual meetings via Zoom for the short future, we hope. But I, for one, as a board member, if there's any general member that has any concerns or comments, I'd love to hear from them, and I'd be glad to share them with the rest of the board. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Anything else on meetings? Going once, going twice. All right. Next, we move on to the Upper Captiva Community Center Foundation updates. Some of you will know what this is, some won't. So sort of back in the day, a fund was started with the idea of starting a community center, building a community center here on the island. When we get to Helen's report, she can tell us exactly what's in it. I think it's $5,000 ish.
It's a little over 5,000.
Yeah.
David will have to, David can pull that up. I don't have that with me, but
yeah, that's fine. We'll look at that in a minute, but there's about $5,000 in that, and that organization was set up separate from UCCA, but sort of in concert with UCCA, where traditionally the UCCA president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary have been the same for the Community Center Foundation. Additionally, that organization is a 501c3. So at this point, UCCA and that organization are not going to be pushing through to build a community center. There is a community center on the way to the island. If everyone doesn't know, Steve Ward has plans to build a community center at the intersection at the corner of Bartlett Parkway and Rum Road, just right across from NCIC. He's already got plans. And, I think he's trying to enjoy a few months, maybe a year of retirement before he just jumps right into that. But that's probably coming in the next few years. And I did speak with Steve, and it will not be a 501c3. It'll just be a regular business. So our goal with Upper Captiva Community Center Foundation is to wind that entity down. The first thing we've got to do is we've got to get control of the bank account. The old treasurer Fran was the last person that, basically had control of that account. So as current president of that foundation, me and Paula and Helen and Melissa will meet in the coming week or two. As we all can, we'll get the paperwork done that we need to do to go get control of that account. And then once we have control of that account, we'll go through the paperwork to wind down the entity. And then we will need to donate that $5,000-ish. A 501c3 can only donate to another 501c3. So we can't just take that money and say, oh, well, let's put it in the UCCA account and everything. So we will be looking for another 501c3 or multiple 501c3s to donate that money to. So as a board, we're going to be looking for those options. We want to hear from membership as well. If there is, a 501c3 that you care about that can benefit the island. I think the important thing is that the money benefit the island. Then we'll be looking at that. But my goal will be, that we've got this thing wound down by the second quarter of this year, and it's just not an agenda item moving forward.
Good. Very good.
So
Go ahead.
is there no interest in having a different UCCA 501c3? We just want to sort of move it on to somewhere else, or?
Well, we can definitely discuss that. It's something we can look at, another, sort of use as a 501c3. It's possible. I know I would love us to look at again, and maybe some of the board members who have been around for a while can, let us know if this has been looked at. I know that currently UCCA is not, a 501c3. In general, HOAs can't be, but we're not really an HOA.
We are not.
Right. And so I personally would love to look at the possibility of UCCA becoming a 501c3 if we can. That really changes the dynamic of donations to the organization. We actually talked about it a little bit last night on our call, I think, where, it's better sometimes for us to sort of be the organization helping raise donations for another organization, because, the people donating actually get a tax benefit. They don't get a tax benefit when they donate to UCCA. So I would love to, bring that up as a topic. When did UCCA, did we ever try to be a 501c3, or did we just someone say, oh, we're like an HOA, we can't? I don't know.
Hey, Swin.
Hold on, we got a lot of hands up. Helen first.
I'll tell you, I've been around for a long time, obviously, and on the board for a while. Any talk I ever heard was that we couldn't be, and I never really understood why we couldn't be a 501c3. I know there are limitations to money, and I want to say that way back something was made of the account that we hold for the landing
Island access.
Access. Thank you. And that the amount of that in money would disqualify us, but it wasn't always that. So I don't know, but we couldn't. Nobody ever really told us why we couldn't, but they always said no, we couldn't be a 501c3.
Gotcha. David next, then Aaron. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
When can we suggest donating that, or like who we can donate it to? How are we going to suggest that, and how quickly can that happen?
Well, first we have to get control of the bank account. So it can't happen until we get that done, right? And so we'll hope to do that here in the next month.
Right.
But after that, it's really comes down to board decision and do we have feedback from the members and suggestions on who and what that goes to? But I do think, Anne brings up a good point,
Mhm.
do we have our own 501c3 that, is different than the community center idea that money is currently sitting in to discuss doing something with.
Okay,
So it sounds like my idea to wind this down, we may hit a curveball. We need to discuss a few things next week.
mhm, mhm.
David?
So
I
I'm
think that can-
90% sure, and I'm usually pretty conservative in my estimates, that I've seen the case law from IRS that says civic associations cannot be 501c3s. I've seen it in writing. I don't know if I save the document or exactly what. So I go back and research that, but it's been discussed and I've seen something that's pretty clear and concise that says civic associations cannot.
Okay.
It's just because it's not a bank account amount. It's related to who benefits and what, you just can't assign and get tax exemption for just any cause. And they don't think that civic associations qualify. The IRS doesn't, I do believe.
Good explanation.
Bill?
Yeah, I think 2 points. The first, to clarify for maybe me, I think that the UCCA is actually a 501c4 that is allowed for that kind of a civic association, just as a clarification, which means we are not, that we don't pay taxes, but our donations to us are not tax exempt, usually. Second comment is that all this is good conversation, but I'm not sure that we'll solve anything like that today. And
No.
I would suggest that things like of this nature, when we identify that it's an issue, kind of goes into a parking lot and we move it to an agenda item for a future board meeting for discussion. But more importantly, for someone to take the lead on it and say, this is what the law says, or what we think the law says. This is what we think we can and can't do. And this is what we would recommend, or these are the options that whoever gets to vote on it gets to decide, just as a suggestion.
No, good thought. We'll put that on next week's agenda to sort of vet through and
Mhm.
come up with the final decision on the direction we'll go. Cool.
Well-
Any other board? Go ahead, Helen. Yep.
I just did want to say one last thing for anybody that is out there, and you've really already said it, Swin, is if we are going to dissipate that bank account into 501c3s, we need to have people on the island be thinking about where would be a good place to put it, and do we have any 501c3s on the island that it could go to?
Yeah.
So that I want that to be out there in the minutes, so people read the minutes, they know that we are looking for that.
Yep, for sure.
Okay.
All right. Any other board comments on this one? Any public comment on the Upper Captiva Community Center Foundation? Nope. Nope. So next we move to communications and website update. Mr. Bolmy.
All right, so can you guys see my screen? I'm gonna talk to that, okay? So this document is out on the website meetings, general membership meeting page. So if you guys wanna have a look at this later, I'm not gonna talk to every one of these, but I did want to summarize what we did last year and then some current things going on with communications. So the first thing, really, we did some website content additions. One of our goals last year related to our vision for 2021 was education. And so one of the ways to do that was frequently asked questions. So we added a page for frequently asked questions. And currently there are 17 questions and answers out there that are related to frequently asked questions for the island. So if you haven't visited that, you should check it out. Some of them relate to membership, like logging in and renewals, reset your password. So if you get stuck like that, that's out there. There's lots of other things about the island, island life and other things. If you have suggestions to add that are common questions you'd like to see out there, simply email to the, you can either email me directly, david.bomi@uppercaptivacivicassociation.org or the info@uppercaptivacivicassociation.org email address will work, and I'll get those and add those to that content. We did add a town hall forum page. As you know, another one of our goals was, again, transparency and community action. We had several town halls. We'll talk about those, but videos that where we had guests on there, hosted by Swin. Those are videoed, recorded, and also Bill Fry did some good stuff there of indexing those videos. So what that means is, by topic, you can see in that video, many of those town halls covered a variety of topics within the subject matter. And that way you don't have to listen to the whole hour. Let's say if you're interested only in a certain thing, you go right to a certain minute segment in the video. And then that way you can just kind of cut through that to the thing you want to listen to. So it's very helpful. But that's out there on the web page, on the main page. There's a link to that, that page with all those town hall recordings and indexing. And also we add a board meetings page. Historically, we did not have a board meetings page because they were not generally attended by the membership. And so we've added that page, and on that page, you'll find, similar to the general membership page, when we have a board meeting announced, the members can log in to the website as a member, because that content is protected to only members can see that. And then the documents about the topics covered in the board meeting, the agenda, are on that page. Just like for this last one and for the one next week, you'll see an email that goes out, says, "Hey, member, there's a new meeting coming up, and here's the location of that page," and then you can click on it and see what's going to be discussed, the agenda, and all those things. So that's out there. To find those two, you can go up to the top bar of the menu of the website, and there's a members section there. So there's lots of things for members on that. Another component was email communications, things that we did, sent out emails. There were 56 informational emails sent out to subscribers and members. So there are two groups really out there. There are memberships, simply UCCA members. And then there are UCCA subscribers, which those are people that don't have to be members, but they're interested in things on the island. And so there are a lot of people that subscribe to that. In fact, there are 528 current subscribers to that general email, UCCA email list. So whenever we send out general notices of these public meetings or other things that are informational about the island coming up, board town halls, other things that go on, that will go to that general subscriber list. So if all members are subscribed to that, and also others. So there are a lot of those people. And I did want to remind people, and again, I said it before, but if you want to be informed about what's going on at UCCA and you think you're subscribed or you're a member and you're not getting emails like the meeting invite for this particular meeting or other informational meetings, you should email me and let me know, because the first thing to do is check your spam or junk folder. As time goes on, things like Gmail and AOL and others, they tighten up rules about spam. And sometimes they capture things you don't want captured into their spam folders on your email. And so if you find you're not getting them or used to get them and suddenly you don't, you can look in your spam or junk folder, see if you can then tell your email system like it's okay, it's not junk. If that you can't be resolved, then just email me and I'll help you to get through that. But it's important if you're subscribed that you do get those, because we try to communicate in a manner of transparency and information for the membership and for the public. Newsletters. So we did produce 5 newsletters this past year. We did one February, April, August, October, and November. So those newsletters were delivered both by mail, if you have chosen that in your online profile, or via electronic delivery, if you've chosen to receive those electronically. So there's some members that want to be, paper, like green, more green and less waste paper. They've signed up on their profile. So do that. Just be sure to log in to on the website, to your member profile. There's a checkbox there. You say I want electronic or paper delivery of the newsletter. Last year, we also added a YouTube channel. Boy, aren't we fancy. So the YouTube channel is a place where those videos get published, so that we don't have to publish them on our own, somehow our own systems. YouTube does that for free. So we have our own YouTube channel for UCCA. We did 9 videos that we published last year, including general membership meetings and those town halls. We had 308 views, meaning 308 individual people went and looked at some part of the videos, and there are 87 hours, just a little bit over 87 hours of watch time. So those statistics are known. So in each individual one, and I won't read them to you, but you see the list in what you see on the screen of which videos had which viewership and how many hours. Those are all available to us on that YouTube channel. So we know how, which things are widely viewed, or if they're not really viewed very much. And that'll help us to decide, do we continue this kind of thing or not? You can see there in the middle, I've highlighted those 2 safe harbor town halls, 1 and 2, far and above the number of views and hours watch time. So that was really a hot topic this last year. On membership, I'll just briefly touch on that. There are a total of 171 member households combined in the 2021 members in 2022. So we're because we're spanning the membership year, there are still some that have not yet renewed their 2021 membership to 2022 membership. So we ask that, and Swin and Marlene have been emailing out a little bit of reminders about that. And clearly people have moved off island, so not everyone's going to renew. But just know that like 98 have renewed or added as new members for 2022 so far. I have a note here to myself to remind people, why is it important to be an active member for UCCA? There are some benefits on the member on the website. There's member only content, so that are accessing the member meeting site. Also, membership includes access to the kayak launch and the other things that go with that. But that membership, being a member, is known in the system, and it either restricts your login or access to certain places. It also puts you on the member online directory. If you don't know, there's a member online directory, so that you can, if you need one or where someone, what house they're in, and you want to go visit them, you can go look them up, go hang out their house or wherever it is, or find their phone number or email address, as we've made that available. And again, that's just to members, not the public. There are 93 electronic newsletter subscribers, just meaning people have chosen to do that. So a great majority of those are doing that. And we did talk about members adding your island house name. So that's one of those things. There's only 46 of those that have that. It would be helpful to have that just for information for people to know. I might find your address, but it's easier to know house names. So you see the rest there. There's just information about membership, and we're still trying to get people converted from last year to this year on that. And the last thing was just a summary of the election buddy. We talked about that. 311 secure ballots were sent out, so that's only about 46.26% people completed those ballots. That just is in line with normal voting in the national election. So I don't think that was abnormal or indicate anything different than what you would see from normal voting situations. But it is detailed and known that system's secure, so that a person only votes once. There's no shenanigans goes on there. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Any board member comments on the communication update?
Hi, David. Can you hear us from the Hipkins? I guess if you could put that chart up again the newsletters that you're talking about, that's the newsletter that we write, right?
That's correct.
Okay. They come out 4 times a year. We usually try and put one out after each general meeting. If that's all right. I mean, anyway, we just so that you know. And we also would like to have, this is your paper, we're the editors, but we really don't want to write, we're not down there all the time. We don't want to write all the articles. And we're hoping that you can use our paper to communicate to the community details maybe of the beautification or kind of what you're doing, and a lengthier positive take on what's going on around the island. I would like to know more what the organization is working on, and we don't get that kind of sort of extended. So Melissa, on the night sky thing, if there are particular environmental things that you're working on or want to speak about, we don't want to be the only ones writing it. It'll be a much better paper if it really represents everybody and everybody has some input into it. So if you got something to say, let us know. Okay.
Totally agree with that. And I think we can even dig deeper there, Sue, and reach out to membership, right? A lot of people with a lot of history, right? And a lot of things that different people are working on the island, you know?
Okay. Melissa wanted to say something. Melissa?
I was going to ask if you have a deadline. So this is the quarterly meeting. What's your deadline, or what target date are you hoping to?
We try and get it out as soon as we can after this meeting. And that usually takes a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So the deadline would kind of be the meeting. We usually put in an account of the meeting, and in it this doesn't make us that current since we don't come out that often. But we were down there all during the holidays, and so we went to all of the events that were down there, and they were wonderful. And we got some pictures and wrote articles about that. So that's in now, even though it took place in December. So everything's not that up to date, but they're good stories and nice pictures and nice thing to keep.
Melissa, did that mean you would be interested in putting something together about the dark sky?
Yes, I could put a little graphic in there. I've been working with David on some things to put on the website, so we might put a little, tickler out there in the newsletter. So I'll try and get something to you within the next couple of days.
Okay,
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Do you know how to get in touch with us? I guess our email is on the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've got
In
your email.
the phone books.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Any other comments on the communication update? Anyone? All right. We'll move on to the treasurer's report. Helen, you're up. David, will you pop up the end of year report, last year's financials? Owen.
Oops, what happened?
All right, so let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing. I'll get the other one up. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
You guys are looking for the amended budget, is that right?
No,
2020?
No,
for
looking
the,
for the
for the financial,
2021
it'd be the
financials.
2021 financial statement. Sorry, I just didn't bring it with me out here. Slipped mind.
All I'm living.
David, it was also on the second page of Melissa's draft minutes from the meeting last night. in the PDF.
No, thanks.
There we go.
There we go. Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Are you able to see it well enough, Helen?
I can. I mean, I'll go ahead and read it for you. Basically, the fourth quarter, which ended out at the end of the year, the bank, the beginning balance in the bank account was $14,524.27. We took in membership dues that some were for, probably the majority of them were for 2022, but they came in during that time. That's $3,267.47. And that was our only income. Our expenses were administrative $137.99. The newsletter for the fourth quarter was $320.49. We did donate $1,000 to the fund run, and our expenditures were $1458.48, and that left an ending balance in the bank account of $16,334.26. Go down to the Island Access Fund, has $101,320.74. The interest is ridiculous on that. And I've been to the bank, and they won't even play the game with me anymore. And that is that I threatened to take the money out and put it in another bank. And they're like, we're not doing that anymore. So we're just, that's the way it is. And then there's the community center. It has $5,404.13 at the end of the year. So the assets of the UCCA would be the it shows 120,000. I don't consider that $5,405 UCCA money. It's not like we've discussed before. It will be distributed out to somewhere else. So that's the end of the 2021 financial statements for the year. Anybody have any questions on that?
Looks good. As a board, we approved this. So we're good on that. Any public comment? All right, I think we're good there. So Alan will go next to the budget.
Budget. And so the budget for 2022, we're going to work on, we talked about this as a board, really trying to get some new memberships, new people on the island. So I increased from 6,000 to 7,000 in this year's budget. Hopefully we can do that. We're about halfway there. And you saw with David that we only had 90 some of the 150 that from last year. So we can pull that money in. Fundraisers, allotted 5,000. I'd like to see the UCCA do some type of fundraiser for us. That's where most of our income comes. And then the other one, for lack of better words, the UCCA has always put out a phone book for members every 2 years. This would be the year that it would need to go out. There's a lot of different thoughts on this. Do we want to do the same thing, or do we want to try something different? I would personally like to see members contact directors or put information on the website about what you would like, any ideas you have. I personally think it's a great asset for the island. I use mine all the time. It has, we make money off of it. It is one of a fundraiser for us. We make money through the advertisements, and the advertisements, people use those when they're looking for help on the island. So that would bring our income to about 19,000. Okay, I thought I sent the amended one.
This is the unamended one. It's okay. We'll explain it.
Okay, I will explain. So we, if ever you'll follow down into where we see the road work donation, that $1,000, we decided to take that out. We took that out, and we moved the administrative up to, now I can't see it because I got
Yeah, we just
to-
added
to-
that 1,000.
We added that 1,000 up there, 1,500. Our insurance is, I don't know what happened here, David. I can't see it.
The page is messed up.
The page is not on the, yeah, for me, it's not, I'm not seeing it. There it is. There it is. So we've got it now. Thanks, David. So administrative fees of 1,500. Our insurance runs us about $2,500 a year. About that. And then our newsletters usually run us about 1,500 for the year. So our expenses would be 11,000. That would leave us an income of about $8,000 for the year. So that was the proposed budget. Nothing is in stone on that. And as a board, we make adjustments where we need to. Any questions on that?
Looks good.
Okay.
Any public comment on the budget?
Thank you, David, for putting that up for me.
I think overall, we're going to hope that we exceed this. One
Exactly.
note, one note, just because we removed the fire department donation does not mean we won't be donating to the fire department. We will see how we do on our budget, and hopefully we'll exceed all this, and hopefully we can do many things for the island, including continuing to support the fire district. All right, any other comments on budgets? All right, we're good there. We will move on to the fire district recap, which we have Chief Martin on with us. Are you able to unmute Jason, or David, can you unmute Jason?
There, can you hear me?
We can.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody, for inviting me tonight. I got a last minute reminder from Swin, and I appreciate that. Wanted to kind of bring everybody up to speed on what's going on over here in the firehouse. So thanks for the invite tonight. Before I really start, I really wanted to thank UCCA for their support financially for a couple of projects this year with us. One was clearing a draft point.
We lost you, Jason.
Okay. I appreciate to remove that tree. That made all the difference in the world. So I appreciate that. We've tried that. Your quick and solid response on the allocation of that tractor for the access ways. We couldn't have done it without you guys. It's in great shape. We hours on it. We continue to train up extra or ancillary operators, and then my guys here put them into the maintenance schedule, so this piece of equipment will last us a very long time. It gets its service, and any troubleshooting is done by the trained technicians or technicians we have that are available to do the stuff here on the island. And Mark Justice has made several arrangements to make sure that that thing is in top and running order. So thanks to MAJ as well. Probably the biggest thing for us I wanted to bring out to UCCA is that we have finally been green lighted for the fire break project between the neighborhood here and the state preserve. They have a mitigation team that is separate from their fire suppression teams, and that they go around the state conducting projects such as ours. So we were able to get them in, and they are scheduled to be here sometime in February to construct that fire break. The fire break will go from the West Beach east to the end of the and make that turn north at 90 degrees up to the end of the canal. Then They will also then widen or improve, clear, whatever word you'd like to use, the access way from from Panama Shell down to the beach. That's already established there. It's kind of starting to become overgrown. They've offered to open that up to us so we can move those forestry trucks down there in a more timely and safer manner. So again, look for them to have some equipment rolling around here sometime in February. They'll be housed with us for the term of the project, and they assume that that will probably take about 3 days. In other news, we've hired a replacement for Assistant Chief Dennison. We've appointed Deputy Chief Brian Dabrowski to replace him as that second full-time chief here with the district. Brian is a retired battalion chief from San Carlos Park over in the south end of Fort Myers. He and his wife live in that area, so just south of Fort Myers. He's been with the district here with us since 2014. So the transition is moving along nicely. Craig is retiring. And we give it a couple of months to get things settled in. But Brian will be assuming his duty because he already has a working knowledge of the district, and it'll make it a lot easier for him to fit into that position. We did a recap of last year. Our run volume was up 11%. It's probably not surprising to any of you with all of the new property changeovers, selling of properties and construction. That's going to go along with the territory. So it's kind of a brief wrap up, but that's what I have for everybody. And please, the president and chair, if you would like, I can take questions if you'd like, sir.
Questions for the chief? Oh, hey there, we got Tima. You're on mute.
There we go. I'd like to know if the fire department was responsible for the draft point access clearing on the access to the beach right off of Gulf and Bartlett.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to know who did that. Thank you.
Yes. Yep. John Kennedy and his crew were selected this year to conduct that, and they were the ones.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Jason, would you be willing to just send us a little letter about what a lot of what you said? Because we usually have a little chief's chief's letter, and a lot of that was, many people know the details of what was going on. We don't. I especially was trying to picture the fire break, and I'd like to be able to say where that exactly would be. So
sure.
Send that along to us. Our emails in the the directory. We'd like to put it in the newsletter that's coming out pretty soon.
So we have about a week to do that.
About a week.
No problem. I can get that to you by the end of the week.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Sure.
Other questions for the chief? Nothing else? All right, Jason, thank you so much for doing this. It's always
Thank you,
good to
everyone.
get an update. And then if I don't know if he wants to speak or not, but AJ, would you like to talk about the roads?
Took a second there to unmute. Thank you. I wasn't prepared to do any formal presentation. I certainly be happy to offer some answers to any specific questions during your meeting here. I will remind everybody that we do give updates on every fire board meeting every month, and that would be also a place where you could continue to get updated information. My comment, I guess, at this point would be, I'm really very, very pleased with the condition of our roads and the progress that we made over the last several years. They they held up over the rainy season exceptionally, and they've really firmed up going into the dry season. We're doing a few experimental projects in other areas of dust suppression. We have this coming weekend, the professors from Florida Gulf Coast University coming out to do some soil sampling and advising us on some of the materials that we're using to improve our results. In general, I've been very, very excited about what we've accomplished to this point, and I can't thank the UCCA enough for a really game changer addition to the road initiative by pulling all together the donations necessary to get that Kubota tractor out here. I personally use it weekly, and it really is a game changer as far as basic maintenance goes. So I have nothing but great things to say about it, about the results, and I thank everybody for the support.
Awesome. Hey, AJ, could you speak just quickly? I don't have to go into crazy detail with it. So the fire district has sort of a new process for addressing roads and sort of selecting roads with matching donations based on property owners, pitching in on their roads. And I know, I believe this month has been Morning Dove, right? Was January to raise the money, and you work on it in February, and then next is Schooner after that, if I am correct. Can you just explain that process to everyone real quick?
Yeah, sure, Swin, you're exactly right. Those are two major projects that we identified that we would encourage some participation from donations to help mitigate the cost. As you think about the island, there are different roads have different challenges to them. There's some parts of the island are wetter or need more work, and so the philosophy there was to say, we could go through some spot projects and raise money the way that we would normally do through just taxpayer funds, or we could really try to do a road right by encouraging those that live on those properties and frankly the hopefully enhancement that would go to their property values by having a road that out front of their property that would be valued there. So we said, look, if we did some kind of a cost sharing between the fire district and some of the local property owners on the road, that we could really take the road to another level. And so I don't think that philosophy applies everywhere. I think, frankly, a majority of the roads need more spot project work as opposed to complete restructure. But Kingfisher was our first project that was of a massive level. We spent $50,000 to restructure that road. It was of third world country quality 3 years ago, and after putting $50,000, a share of $25,000 of donations and $25,000 of taxpayer money through the fire district, the money was raised to put that road to a completely new level, and it's basically been almost untouched in the now almost 3 years since we restructured that road, kind of validating the methods that we use to rebuild it. So we've now taken that, as you alluded to Morning Dove and Schooner, and I don't think we're going to have too many more projects of that size level. Morning Dove is earmarked as $20,000 project. Schooner is earmarked as a $38,000 project. If we can do a 50-50 split in those regions to raise the money and do the completely restructuring, I think we will have most of our restructuring initiatives taken care of. And I think going forward, almost everything else could be really done on a more of a basic maintenance or spot project basis. So I hope that wasn't confusing, but I'm trying to make the point that I think we've kind of turned the corner on the really big projects.
Awesome. Any questions for AJ? Roads or anything? We good?
Good work, AJ.
Yep. Thank y'all for
Thank you,
keeping
sir.
up with that stuff. All right, so we'll move on. We're getting towards the end here. So next agenda item is our 2022 vision. I'm just going to kind of briefly touch on this. As a board, we're going to dive into a lot of this next week. This next week will sort of be our first board meeting to sort of wrap our arms around the full year in front of us and initiatives. So, first and foremost, I think, as an organization, we've got to keep focused on community building. And, we're in a pretty polarizing time on the island, I guess I'll say. I think the island has always been challenging. Without diverting too much, I've been doing a lot of studying on the Kinseys and Judge Rose and stuff like that. And it was super volatile way back then. And, our island continues to be volatile. There are a lot of different, types of owners on the island, from full-time residents to, people who own property and never come and rent and never see their homes, have other people doing all that. And then a lot of in between. And I think the biggest thing that we've got to remember is we're a small community, and this island brought all of us here for a reason. And the vast majority of us are here involved in the island because of, the environmental aspects, from the nature, everything from our sea turtles to our gopher tortoises to the indigo snakes to our hiking trails and our beaches and the water quality and the dolphin and the manatee. I talk to people all the time, and I go, congratulations that you ended up here. We should be excited that we're here. But with that comes a lot of challenges, small ones and big ones. And number one is we're not a municipality. We're probably never going to be a municipality. And so we have to figure out our problems ourselves, or get our state or county level government to solve them for us. Not sure that that's the path, but we will engage with the county and the state as we move forward. But I think that the centennial celebrations that happened in October really helped build a lot of community there. I think going back to the start of the pandemic, there were tons of us marooned here, if you will. And a lot of friends, a lot of people got to know each other who had never met before. And then I really think that took a big leap in October. And it just feels more and more daily like neighbors know each other. And I think that this organization has to keep fostering that sentiment. Because as many problems as we have here, and as many complaints as people will have, I think we all have way more in common than what we have different. And so that'll be one of the big pushes for us moving forward, is continuing to build this community in a positive direction. Now, that's hopefully coming together and fixing some of what we collectively feel are the negatives on the island. And that's everything from infrastructure to, I've probably had myself at least a half a dozen, if not a dozen, conversations with different people this week about the age-old conversation of golf carts, which has now morphed into not just golf carts, but, the bigger vehicles that are on the island and how fast they are and stuff like that. I think we will be talking about vehicles on this island for hundreds of years. Next is communication, and that's really building on what I think we did a pretty good job of last year. Everything from continuing to build out the website as a central sort of depository of great information, doing more of the town hall concepts. A lot of the perceived problems around the island are really from misinformation and sort of uneducation, right? Where, people just think, well, this is the way, this is the law, or this is how it is. And it's like, well, we're different. Unfortunately, in many aspects, we're just different. And some of those things we can change and some we can't. And if we know, really the laws that govern us and different things, and we know the entities that work on the island, everything from LCEC to our sheriff, to our businesses, all the vendors here. If people know what's going on and they know the history behind things, it'll be easier. So I think communication's a huge thing that we continue to do. As we get together as a board this next week, we are going to dive into a very rigid committee structure. Most of the work that we do as a board should happen in committees, with the board really meeting, much more briefly than we have in the past, to help guide those committees and to vote on things, to greenlight things moving forward, whether that's financial or whether that's a contractual agreement that has to happen, or whether that committee just needs, more input from the broader board, to sort of, get what they're working on moving forward. And so we're gonna get in sort of this committee mode, with multiple board members on each committee, and really doing an outreach to the greater membership. We need members on our committees. This organization has got to be more than 9 board members who meet 4 times a year, right? Thus us moving up and having more meetings ourselves, but we need to involve the greater membership and the assets that everyone brings, right? There are so many assets on this island, like everyone has different skill sets, and we need to tap into those to get things done. And then, as we get those committees set up, we'll be working on, those committee and board initiatives. And it's important to know that the board initiatives are just an extension of our community initiatives. It has to be what membership thinks needs to be done. I can't talk to every person with a vested interest in this island, and neither can any of the board members. So we've got to get out to membership more. We need feedback from membership. You're going to see us probably modernize a little more and get into some surveys this year where, hey, we want feedback. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Right. And we've got to grow our membership along the way as well. We can't have a membership of 98, households, some of which are not owners on the island, right? You don't have to be an owner on the island to be a member of this organization. So, property owners who are members are even lower than that 98 right now. And even if we, bounce it back up to the 150 level or 170 level, it's not enough. We really need to get a majority of stakeholders on this island to be members so that we are all talking and giving suggestions and feedback on the initiatives the board should be working on.
You're right. It's an audit.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's really, sort of a just quick recap of the 22 vision moving forward. Know this, that this board's going to work. I mean, look, we're volunteers. We all decided to get elected to volunteer our time. And there's two things that can move things forward on this island. It's money, which is much harder to get than time. And so we've got to donate our time as board members, but we also need the membership to dive in and collectively donate time to the island. And those are the things that are going to help us pull together as a community and get positive change. We're not going to solve every problem, but we can identify some great things to get done for the island. And I'm confident that we can get some great things done.
Swin, could I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
So, as the new president, and having laid out your shorthand of your vision, which I know your plea is to get other people to help you with all this stuff, but just this one time, could you take a moment to try to summarize what you've been saying, and so that we can either put it in the next issue, this issue, or the next issue, your vision, which is what you.
Yeah. So I will, I'll email you, I'll send you a write-up from me of that vision.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
And a picture of you.
Picture of you.
I need a haircut first.
Well, fair warning, you keep working on it. Get your stylist, call him in.
Someone needs to Photoshop me.
Yeah.
So any other comments or anything on the 2022 vision? I mean, and I will sort of harken back and I want to give, credit where credit's due. Really this is building on blocks that David, really started putting forth, last year and at the end of 2020. With sort of the vision of committee structure and everything. We didn't get there last year, but we've got to get more things done, right? It's too easy for us to come together, whether it's the general meeting or whether it's our board of directors meeting, and sit around and complain a lot. It's easy to complain. It's much harder to come up with a solution and get it done. I'm in it for the hard work. I expect everyone to work. I don't expect everyone to work equally. We all have other lives, other jobs and stuff like that. There's probably not a day now that I don't put in an hour or two with something with the island. I know that we can get things done as we commit more time. So we got to get a broader amount of people involved and get more people committing time to the island, and we will get a lot done. Marlene?
I'd just like to have a suggestion for the Hipkins and the newsletter. At our next meeting next week, if we form the committees, and can we put in the newsletter who's heading what committees with the emails and whatever, and put it out to the general membership who would like to help us do that?
Absolutely. I think we have to do that. And I think that one of the committees, it won't be a committee specifically for it, but one of the committees will be tasked with that ongoing communication with the Hipkins and, communicating what they need to the board, and then also to general membership, and then getting things back, from general membership and the board back to them, right? You've asked, you don't want to write the whole thing. There are plenty of people out here that can help contribute, and we should. Any other questions, feedback, anything? All right. Well, I think that's it for that. Next on the list is other business. If anyone has other business they want to bring up that wasn't on the agenda that we didn't modify. Sounds like everyone is ready to call it a night. Last thing is public comment on non-agenda items. Any last minute? This is your chance.
Swen, this is Mike Phillipsack. I have a question. Can you tell us where we are with Brazilian pepper? I've heard, I guess, a few things recently. None of them sound very promising, but can you give us an update from your perspective where we're at?
Yeah, I can. I'm a little bit front and center on a lot of Brazilian pepper things. So, going back for the quick recap, in 2020, into 2020, the board knew that the ordinance was going to take place in January of 21 and proactively sent a letter to Lee County Community Development going, hey, what are your plans with this ordinance that we passed years ago on Brazilian pepper? And there was a lot of back and forth through those months, not just the county coming back to UCCA. They did come back with a couple of things. Specifically, during that same time, I purchased a lot on Rum Road, and I was like, I'm going to eradicate the Brazilian pepper from it. So I started, having that pepper removed, and I got told to stop. I needed a vegetation permit. I couldn't do this. And I got in a little fight with the county myself and sent them, screenshots of their website that says you don't need a vegetation permit to eradicate invasive species, which Brazilian pepper is. And between UCCA and me personally, we all went back and forth a lot with the county. It's kind of like the Keystone Cops, one person's telling you one thing, another person's telling you another, contradicting each other. Fast forward to this past summer in June, I had a conference call with two of our deputy county managers and the director of community development. And we talked about a lot of things. And in no uncertain terms, they told me that they were not going to enforce our Brazilian pepper ordinance, not to the extent that it's written. They will only enforce it at the level that when someone builds a new home, they are required to eradicate pepper from that parcel before they can get their certificate of occupancy. So in the county's view, we will take care of this over decades as each individual lot develops. I think we all know there's no way 100% of the lots are going to develop. I am co-owner in two that I'm telling you, the co-owners, we're never going to develop those parcels. We bought them to protect, views or homes or corners and stuff like that. And there are a lot of other owners like that. So taking the stance of doing it as parcels develop, there will always be dozens, if not, 100 parcels with Brazilian pepper on it if we do that. So in my view, and this will go to one of the committees that we will work on. And I was talking to someone else today about it. I mean, I don't have the answer today with what we do, but based on the county's stance, there's two directions to go. One is to educate our community and get community buy-in that we've got to eradicate it quicker and that we should all do it. And any of us who are involved with the island, right? And I'm not, look, there are people that own lots here that bought them 30, 40 years ago. They've never been back to the island and it's hard to get in touch with them. But for owners who have vacant lots that have pepper, like how can we convince them, hey, go ahead and pull the trigger, eradicate that pepper off your property? The other side of it is, do we come together and do we sue the county? Do we sue our county to force them to enforce their ordinance, I don't know any other ordinance that they wouldn't enforce upon us. You know, so it's a little bit mind-boggling that they can choose to, you know, pick and choose what ordinances they're going to enforce where and which ones they're not. I do know, just on the scale of feasibility, and AJ and I were talking earlier this week or this weekend about it. It's tough. It's a tough process. I have a lot on Oro pesos. I started 7 months ago to eradicate the Brazilian pepper from that. It's dead now. It's pulled down. It's in huge piles, but there's not a freaking chipper on the island that works right now. Everyone's waiting on parts and stuff like that. So for months, I'm just trying to get someone to come chip it so I can be finished. So think about doing that times 50 right now, or times 100 or times 200. It's virtually impossible with our vendor infrastructure on the island. So again, I think that that's something for at the committee level. And I would invite you, there's a couple of people that, you know, Michael, you bringing this up, and I know, you know, AJ and Aaron have brought it up. I mean, this is a good thing for, you know, board members and community to be on a committee that we're looking at things like this. Aaron? I think you're on mute.
I was going to say, what about if we spent some of our money on buying our own chipper for UCCA and having that make us money chipping people's stuff? I mean, you could make a lot of money having a brand new chipper out here and chipping Brazilian pepper or whatever it would be. We could really make money.
I actually think that's a good idea. I thought about over the last year, actually back when I was dealing with all of it, I was like, man, maybe UCCA should have like some equipment. I do know that the Foxes and the Highsmiths have invested in, they've ordered a chipper. They have a chipper that was supposed to be here 3 weeks ago. They're trying to get one to the island. They will rent it to experienced, right? They're not going to just let anyone take it. So whether it's a Sherman or a JJ or Duncan or whoever, if you know, or John Kennedy, if a chipper's needed, they will, you know, rent on an hourly basis, I believe, that chipper. But the way things go, who knows? That thing might be broken in 6 weeks and be sitting around for 6 months waiting on parts too. I don't know.
I know.
Right? Right?
Man.
Release a herd of beavers on the island.
Right. I mean, it is truly problematic. You know, look, the island will be more beautiful without all the Brazilian pepper. It is crazy, because specifically my lot on Oro Pesos, with it down, there are only 4 trees on that lot. It's insane. The whole lot was Brazilian pepper. Like luckily someone's wanting to get rid of some trees. So I've already said, yes, I want your 6 trees. I'll move them to this lot, you know, but once we get it off and we can start working on, you know, real landscaping, maybe get some sea grape on there and some other things, it's going to be beautiful. So I'm with you. I'd love to eradicate it. I think we'll have a better island without it, but it is certainly problematic in many ways.
Swin, this is AJ.
Swin, this is AJ.
You know, I just,
I just like to weigh in on the Brazilian pepper issue too, from the fire board standpoint. I appreciate the effort that the UCCA did to at least initiate some of the contact. I think even some of those even before you guys ran into the same roadblock. The fire board is equally as interested from their perspective for fire and rescue safety purposes to have the trucks have access, and we're going to take a hard run at them through the fire board for safety reasons to get the county to step up and enforce their own codes, the codes that they asked us what we needed and agreed to put in the books. They're in the books right now, and we're going to take a shot at them from the fire board side. So if you guys can attack from your side and we kind of meet in the middle, I think we're going to get some results from these people. I also want to point out that, you know, a significant portion of the trimming budget that we have, it's part of the accessway maintenance line item in the fire board budget. I would estimate somewhere around a third of our trimming budget is tied to Brazilian pepper, you know, intrusions. That's thousands and thousands of dollars we spend every year trimming back a plant that shouldn't even be on this island to begin with. So I think we all need to kind of get indignant about this and demand the county to do something about it, because it's costing us a fortune, it's creating safety problems, and it's time to say enough's enough. So.
Well, and as an island, you know, going back historical to UCCA, you know, minutes and everything, this is something that's been, you know, trying to be tackled for, you know, 15 plus years. You know, that's
Well,
why
one quick other
back,
point,
back in 09 and 2012, it became an ordinance.
Yeah, hey, Swin, by the way, we used to get a significant amount of our Garlon, which is a systemic herbicide that will kill Brazilian pepper. We got it mostly from the SCCF, the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation.
Yep.
They are a 501c, and maybe in exchange for a donation, they throw us some more gallons of Garlon just for grapes.
Yeah, that's a good thought there. They've actually got a new managing director. I need to reach out to. Ryan Orgera left there in December. So yeah, that'd be a good thing to engage. But yeah, I hear you, because I've talked to several other people about Brazilian pepper over the last couple of weeks too. We'll definitely, one of our committees is definitely going to dive in, and then that committee should reach out to the fire district and probably coordinate on things.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Anything else on Brazilian pepper? I'll just say similarly, and we talked about it earlier, just as far as ordinance, I'm a huge advocate, and I know it's a passion project for Melissa, on dark skies. You know, I'm personally not a fan of all the string lights going up everywhere and stuff like that. I like it nice and dark and everything. So another thing that we should probably focus on a lot. Marlene?
Just one more thing on the Brazilian pepper. I was just thinking, like, next year, whoever gets the contractor to do the trimming or whatever, what if when they get the contractor to do the trimming, any homeowner wants the Brazilian pepper, they pay for it themselves, which gives the trimming guy more money, and maybe more people would be apt to get rid of the Brazilian pepper. Just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's several things that we can do to incentivize. I mean, I think one of the things with Brazilian pepper is that if we can come up, I think if you went to some people and you went, hey, for $4,000, this team is ready. They will come in and it's going to be eradicated from your property in 10 days. Like, I saw one of our island landscapers just last week clear a property in like 4 days. And I'm like, it can be done. Holy crap, you know? So it can be done. I don't know what it took to get that done. Isn't happening for me. But I think that if we could get the right vendors to commit that, hey, you know, if we go to people and go, hey, tap you on the shoulder, if you'll do this, like now,
I think that's a good point.
You know, we got someone ready to do it and knock it out. I think we would get people to do it. It's just a pain right now.
Yeah, he's saying it's a good idea.
All right. Anything else on pepper or any other topic? All right, I think I need to hear someone move to adjourn.
Where's Bill?
I
Anyone?
move to adjourn.
Was that David? Who, any
A
seconds?
second.
Bill Fry seconds. All right, all in favor, aye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
No. Thank you all for joining us tonight.